Still as crooked as a politician. Man, someday he'll cut it. I guess maybe if I get a half decent saw. I have to pick one of those up. This $5 turd doesn't work very good. Anyway, here's the axle. The plans say 5 feet for the standard fuselage width. I went 6 feet. I'm adding 6 inches for the extra 6 inches wide the airplane's going to be. The wingspan will be the same as the original, so in the end I'll be getting an extra 6 inches for stability. And I went full 6 feet, which gives me an extra foot because the wheels I'm using have brakes, and they're going to be maybe a little wider, so I gave myself a little extra, and I'll just nip off whatever's left over. It's rather be a few inches too much than a few inches too little. So 3/4 inch 40-130 steel tube, and that's the axle. There, just dressed it up a little with the belt sander. It's got the disc on the side. It's as square as a English professor now. See how crooked I can cut this one now. A little better. There. Nice and square. And if you're doing anything like this, especially on a wooden bench, make sure you stick around for half an hour so you don't have anything getting lit off there. And gear leg number 2. There's nice little burrs on the inside. I just used the back of an X-Acto knife. Get in there. Done. All gone. No finger cutting. Okay, I put a vice grip on there. I get the inner tube, inside tube slid inside, and I just clamped this just enough to keep that from moving, because I want to drill the two holes I'm going to use for the bolts here with this in place, so that way it'll be perfect. Don't want any alignment problems to deal with. Done like dinner. And what I did on the other side is you can see the oil stains there. I squirted some oil inside, which I really couldn't do. Tried to get on the bit the first drill, but that's it. Yeah, that's it. Just getting the burrs off. The drill bit that's too big, just enough to get that sharp edge off. Okay, for now, because they're much easier to get in and out, I'll just use these cheapies. Hold this thing together and carry on with the axle and stuff now. Okay, there's the layout, the landing gear. We got a center line marked here, a drill line here, used a square, I got mine over there. put a 90 degree, ran another one here, marked the center of the axle, and determined how far this has to be from the belly of the airplane. So I came up with 44 inches. This is going to give me 47 inches. That's 15 inches from the center here to the inside of this U-channel. 20-inch wheel. Half of that, of course, and that's 25 inches. Plus 22 inches from the center line of the fuselage, or the thrust line of the fuselage. And that's another 22 inches. So it's about 47 inches. I need 44 inches from the thrust line to get my 8-inch clearance, ground clearance. So I got a few extra inches, which is good, because if those wheels didn't pan out, the other ones would give me a few extra inches here to compensate. But took a little bit of math and a little bit of head scratching, and there it is. Measured where I want the axle to stop. It's about here. I'm probably going to cut this much off. So that's my 20 inches. Marked this off, moved up to the center where the axle will be. I'll just start drilling my hole here. Of course, it's going to be 3/4 of an inch, and I measured up 3 inches, and that'll give me 3 inches center to center. And of travel on the suspension, that should be enough. There's nothing in the plans that tells me how far to go with this, so bungee suspension, I think that should be plenty. So I'll just mark off the center punch. I know I brought one down here. Tried to get some cutting oil today, and the guy says, "Oh, we can have some for you in 2 weeks." Yeah, I'll just wait for that. If you ever do decide to build a wooden airplane, I haven't made the mistake, because I've learned from model airplanes, you're messing around metal parts and you're using oil and stuff like that, don't put this near your, or lay it on your plane with bare wood. Oil and wood, you're going to have trouble getting stuff, varnish and stuff to stick after you make that groaner. But anyway, there's 2 holes here. The other 2 holes. So now all I got to do is cut these sections out, and then my axle will be able to slide up and down that with the bungees wrapped around them. You're probably wondering, why am I using this little fart to cut this steel? Well, for one thing, it's only 0.49 thickness. And the other thing is, I got a lot better control over that little tiny disc cutting that line than I would with one of the bigger cutting discs that would fit on my on the air tool I have in the garage. So for a fine job, I'm using a fine disc. And of course, I'm using the face shield. Had a couple of those little discs explode on me, of course. Any wrong move and the thing will grenade on you. But there it is. Put some light on this bastard. And you might be able to see there, she's an offset. And let's go see if the axle will fit. And you know, I got to do a little filing and tidying up, but you can see how that works. It's fits in the slot there pretty slick. And what I'll be doing next would be a bolt in here with a tube, steel tube spacer, and a bungee of one loop that goes in the spacer here. This will actually be more like a pin. Try to get that in view. Need 3 hands here. It'll wrap around here, wrap around the other one on the bottom, and then you just kind of do a figure 8 a few times, and that's your suspension. That's how early airplanes are done. And that'll just dance up and down in there. Should work slicker than a snot in a rooster's beak. It'll work with the file later. Gets everything nice and straight. Now the axle slides up and down this perfectly. Okay, that's one down. Time to get another one. So there's the first steps anyway, pretty much completed. As you can see, she's going to be about 40 inches from here to here. So what I got to do now is make up the spreader bars. They'll bolt on here, and there'll be 3/4 inch aluminum tube, I believe, with the end compressed or flattened. That'll be my next skill to learn. And that'll bolt here, and there'll be a spacer, and then a big washer, actually 2. Spacer, washer, head of the bolt, same on the other side with the nut. And that's what's going to hold your spreader bar in place and the bungee in place. So all I got left to do for now is just going to drill this hole here, and then it'll go through here, of course, and that'll hold the upper end of the legs in place. And then on the top I'll nip this out, and that'll allow my wing strut to come in and bolt here. An option is to run a 4130 steel strap across the U-channel there, which I'm going to do. Just a little added safety and weight, unfortunately, but you know, a little bit of peace of mind. So this is step 1 anyway. As you can see, cut the axle inside. And it rolls up and down there quite freely. Of course, it won't be rolling when it's actually working. It'll slide. I think I'm going to try to get a piece of plastic, some nylon or something, just so that this will actually slide on the nylon and not that steel edge, because I can see that wearing out pretty quick. Yep, there she is. And go take a look, see how much time I actually spent on the landing gear to get that far. That's 20. Say about almost just under 5 hours to get that much done. Lots of cutting and drilling, so that's not too bad. Probably got another 5 hours to go before it's done, because like I said, I got these are the bolts I will be using, good AN bolts. Once everything's sorted out. So we got the steer leg done. As you can see, the cables going fore and aft. This is a side view, of course, and then front view. Pretty much see how it sits on the floor there. Of course, you got a cable. This one be going forward or aft, and then oh no, that's actually your cross. These two here, and that one would be going fore and aft. So it's like a X brace wires, a front set and a rear set. So see why I spent over $500 on turnbuckles. And there's that slot. So, and then there's the bolt they're talking about and everything attaches to. And there's the spreader tube and that little arrangement there. So about halfway there, I guess. Problem is, it's going to take another 2 weeks to get my turnbuckle. So once I reach a dead end with this, I'll start building the tail feathers. Yep, it's getting there. It feels good to be working on it again. Of course, here's one of the wheels. Yep, that's what they had in those days. I think it was 1927. The original Heath was designed. Yep.